What do you think the ceasefire agreement means for Hezbollah, and specifically for the Islamic Republic, which sees Hezbollah as its most important proxy?
Good evening to you and to your viewers. For Hezbollah, this allows an opportunity for it to regroup, to reorganize, to develop new ways to establish its political presence in Lebanon. This agreement, in many ways, is a test of the Lebanese government. Is it able to exert sovereignty over southern Lebanon, or will Lebanese Hezbollah push back and take its place as it did in the past? Hezbollah will face some pressure from Beirut for this reason, and I think Hezbollah's main goal now is to make sure it survives that and keeps things status quo. For Iran, diplomacy is a good thing because it allows peace for it to be able to restore connections with Hezbollah, provide new training, new weapons, new money, without the threat of Israeli airstrikes interrupting that assistance and killing its personnel.
How sustainable do you think such a ceasefire can be?
Well, it's likely that each side, the Israelis and Hezbollah, will honor the agreement. There could be events that upset the agreement, but Israel wants to return its people to the north. It doesn't want to stay in Lebanon. It wants to return its reservists home. It has achieved the destruction of Hezbollah's strategic tunnel network in the south. For Israel, extending its presence in Lebanon opens the prospect of a never-ending war. For Lebanese Hezbollah, it's able to fire small rockets into Israel, but its strategic threat to Israel has been destroyed. It needs to regroup, reestablish a political organization that has been decimated by Israeli airstrikes. So each side has drivers to obey the agreement.
Netanyahu said in his speech tonight that this ceasefire agreement means that Israel can now focus more than ever on Iranian threats. What do you think this statement implies? Are we now on the brink of a major confrontation between Israel and Iran?
I think it's certain that we're going to see an increased intensity of Israeli action against Iranian Hezbollah cooperation in Syria. Israel needs to make sure that Iran weapon training and technical capacity is not restored to Hezbollah. That means increased airstrikes in Syria. And indeed, we've seen in the last few weeks an increase in those strikes. Israel still must deal with Gaza. It has 100 hostages. There is tremendous international pressure on Israel to resolve the Gaza issue and to develop a two-state solution. So Prime Minister Netanyahu's rhetoric aside, Gaza will remain their primary interest. In terms of Iran in general, I think it is fair to say that Israel now believes that it has the capacity and the ability to punish Iran severely whenever Iran attempts to kill Israelis or undertake actions against the Israeli states. The missile strikes that we have seen in the past, the airstrikes, this may be a new normal.
For a series of these proxy groups for the Islamic Republic, including Hezbollah, they have been forces for a rainy day. Now that this ceasefire has taken place, do you think that if Israel launches a significant attack on Iran, and Iran wants to respond, Hezbollah will just sit back, and we won't see any action from them?
The myth of proxy support to Iran has been revealed to be exactly that. Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis do not have a strategic threat capability against Israel. They can launch small rockets, maybe single large rockets from Yemen or drone, but that's very different from the claims in the past where a strike by Israel on Iran, or if Iran ever attacked Israel, would produce thousands of rockets and missiles that would overwhelm the Israelis. The strategic threat by Iran's proxies are in essence over. Now, this means that Israel, when it faces an attack against Iran itself as part of its planning, should it decide to do so, has additional freedom to undertake those operations.
How important is the role of the United States here? Many people thought that perhaps Mr. Netanyahu would wait until Mr. Trump comes into office and then make a possible agreement. How do you see this agreement being made in the final weeks of the Biden administration?
Well, again, the drivers were primarily a need to return reservists home to strengthen the Israeli economy and to take steps to move their 60,000 citizens to their homes in the north. So I think those are the primary drivers. This said, regarding the United States' role, it's certain that the United States under President Biden or President Trump will defend Israel as significantly as we have done in the last year. But neither President Biden nor President Trump wish to be involved in a conventional war with Iran in the region. What I think is a new possibility is Iran has for years undertaken attacks against the United States, European partners in the region, facing no consequences. Or Iran has used proxies, where the proxies have paid the consequences for Iran's plan. But with Israel and Iran having struck each other, the prospect of a direct surgical military strike by the United States against Iran is now much more conceivable. And Iran brought this on itself as a result of its April 2024 attack on Israel.